before the sun can even breach the mist of these ancient glens. The silence is broken by a challenge. This is the domain of the Highland monarch, a ruthless landscape where mere survival is never enough. One must dominate. Over the next 14 hours, across freezing burns and windswept moors, absolute power will be contested. And by twilight, only one will remain standing. Before the sun attempts to break the horizon, the Scottish Highlands exist as deep shadows. Emerging from heavy mist like ghosts of the moorland, the true monarchs begin to stir. It is a landscape forged by ancient ice, relentlessly testing the endurance of all dwellers. These magnificent beasts are heavily muscled, perfectly built for the harsh realities of Highland survival. Even the smallest inhabitants must remain ever vigilant in the freezing dawn. Down in the depths of the ancient glens, the dark waters hold their own masters. For those dwelling on muddy banks, the morning brings a frantic search for sustenance. Every drop of water here is a precious resource, shared by giants and mice alike. It is a delicate balance, a quiet coexistence before the demands of the day begin. The amphibians, perfectly camouflaged, wait patiently for the chill to retreat. As daylight establishes its grip, the ancient, intricate dominance dances commence. This remarkable display is a beautiful testament to the resilience of life on the moors. The echoing calls travel far across the heather, reaching the ears of roaming giants. Near the Caledonian pines, the elusive roe deer begin their cautious search. Pushing through the dense, tangled scrub requires immense raw power. This is a wilderness of awe-inspiring scale and breathtaking isolation. From the high crags, the undisputed master of the air, the golden eagle, keeps watch. Senses must remain sharp, for danger can strike from above at any moment. The open skies offer no sanctuary for those caught unaware in the tall grass. Survival here is a constant, uncompromising game of hide and seek. High in the forest canopy, incredible agility is the greatest asset. The ancient woods provide a rich bounty for those specifically adapted to harvest it. As the day brightens, the protective cover of the trees becomes a vital refuge. Heavy morning dew is violently cast off, preparing thick winter coats for the day ahead. Every single species plays a vital role in this intricate dance for ecosystem survival. A powerful call cuts through the cold morning air, signaling a turbulent day. For nocturnal wanderers, the strengthening light means it is time to retreat safely underground. The final moments of dawn are spent tirelessly securing one last meal. From ancient stone ruins, silent observers watch the changing of the guard. The daytime shift in the untamed highlands has officially begun. By mid-morning, a bright, overcast sky reveals the boundless expanse of raw nature. The energy in the air is palpable as territories are fiercely and physically marked. Smaller neighbors must freeze, knowing better than to draw the ire of a giant. Aggressive posturing is a necessary tool for maintaining territorial dominance and securing a bloodline. The harem watches closely, their future tied entirely to the strength of their protector. Amidst this display of herbivore power, silent feline predators roam the dry grass. To move is to be seen, and in the highlands, to be seen is perishing. A delicate, deadly game of survival plays out just inches from the grazing herds. In the rocky labyrinths, miniature hunters dart with explosive, hyperactive speed. The immense lords of the moor feed completely unbothered by the chaos below. Above the dark, rippling locks, the aerial hunters execute breathtaking, high-speed dives. Gliding effortlessly on rising thermals, they meticulously patrol the white skies. They cast an ever-present shadow over the grazing beasts of the expansive valley. On the highest ridges, Extreme camouflage is the only defense against wind and talons. As the morning wears on, the heavy mammalian bodies seek brief moments of rest. Highly saturated peat bogs hold vast reserves of water, acting as lungs of the moor. Here, cold-blooded residents slowly absorb the meager ambient warmth of the overcast sky. The agile Eurasian otter navigates these dark, peat-stained currents with incredible grace. From the high ridges to the wet bogs, the rhythm of highland life pulses steadily. A brief moment of deep relaxation is earned before the midday heat settles in. Unseen currents of air carry the highlands' apex avian predators for miles without flapping. Down below, the rich green ferns provide a nutritious, calming bounty for the herds. Massive sentinels stand guard, ensuring the safety of those hidden in the underbrush. Ancient stone boundaries become hunting highways for highly resourceful scavengers. In the wet moss, lightning-fast strikes secure the next vital meal for the camouflaged. The seemingly endless expanse of purple heather forms a living blanket over rugged terrain. Abandoning its high vantage point, the elusive Scottish wildcat slips soundlessly into the brush. Crucial maintenance ensures the formidable bone weapons of the stags remain sharp and imposing. A delicate balance is constantly maintained, predators and prey sharing the same open moor. With explosive speed, the highly vulnerable bound toward the safety of the deeper rocks. As the clock creeps past 11:30, an overwhelming stillness falls over the glens. Deep within the earth, the nocturnal residents sleep heavily through the quietest hours. The flat, midday light mutes the world, forcing a period of mandatory energy conservation. Even the most active forest dwellers succumb to the deep lethargy of the afternoon. Slow, rhythmic breathing of resting giants is the only sign of life on the moor. High in the moss-draped branches, cool, shaded sanctuaries are easily found. On the dark forest floor, panting quietly is the only way to beat stagnant air. The dense pine canopy offers a deeply shaded refuge for all who seek its shelter. A never-ending battle against persistent highland insects continues even in deep rest. Total silence reigns as the Scottish wilderness holds its collective breath. The mesmerizing flow of the dark Highland burn, stream, provides the only movement. Exhausted from the morning's intense efforts, the river hunters sleep deeply on soft banks. Halfway inside muddy burrows, meticulous grooming takes place in perfect, hidden safety. The burns act as a neutral zone, where predators and heavy prey rest closely. The stagnant air is occasionally tested, though movement remains incredibly rare. Hunkered down in shadows, the dark plumage of the black grouse acts as a cloak. Supreme camouflage renders alpine life totally indistinguishable from the gray stones. The vast moorland transforms entirely into a static, living painting of resting herbivores. Seeking refuge from the flat glare, protective thorny bushes offer a highly secure roof. The colossal monarchs settle completely into the earth, waiting patiently for the turning sun. By mid-afternoon, the air begins to cool, and heavy, stiff muscles are finally stretched. Meticulous grooming preparations begin for the highly anticipated evening hunt. A synchronized wave of urgent feeding washes over the highlands once more. Eager to capitalize on the renewed activity, the dark, rocky crevices quickly empty out. The midday lethargy is violently shaken off. The most crucial hours are rapidly approaching. The boundary between ancient forest and moorland comes alive with the strengthening wind. Frantic efforts are made to secure nutritious caches for the harsh winter months ahead. Energy must be consumed rapidly and efficiently before the daylight completely fails. Across the terrain, a shared urgency drives the herbivores to graze with intense focus. Only the absolute most nutritious buds are selectively plucked from the dense heather. As evening steadily approaches, tight social groups form for safety and reassurance. From elevated vantage points, the protectors observe their legacies with unwavering intensity. The sheer scale and thunderous power of the moving herds dwarfs all else. Sensing the temperature drop, the underground dwellers emerge to begin their long night. Exposed in the open water, swift crossings are a matter of absolute life and death. Tensions begin to rise exponentially as clear warnings are carved into the wet earth. Parallel walking is a tense, non-contact method of properly gauging a rival's sheer strength. The deafening roars command the glen, putting even the most lethal apex predator on edge. Lethal, low-altitude avian ambushes are executed with breathtaking, silent precision. Stalking requires extreme concentration and a complete, perfect mastery of silence. The final hours of daylight cast long, incredibly moody shadows across the ancient glens. A powerful, echoing announcement bounces off the granite, declaring total ownership of the valley. Waking fully from their daytime slumber, the agile hunters descend rapidly to the forest floor. The thundering, guttural calls put the smaller, more timid residents on extremely high alert. The masters of the sky finally return to their rocky roosts to weather the night. Perfectly adapted to the fading light, elusive feline eyes scan the darkening moors. Sensing the rapidly rising aggression, the female herds cluster tightly together for protection. As the highland temperatures plummet, the cold-blooded prepare for a freezing darkness. While upland birds settle into roosts, the restless giants begin their aggressive pacing. Adorned with torn heather like a crown of war, dominant males march to confront challengers. The deep, still locks act as perfect mirrors for the fleeting, moody colors of twilight. Under the cover of deepening shadows, powerful and noisy excavations begin in the leaves. Incredible hearing precisely pinpoints the slightest movements of prey hidden beneath the soil. To appear darker and far more intimidating, the stags coat themselves in thick, pungent peat. Hyper-alert sentinels scan the moors as the chaotic, violent symphony of the rutting season begins. A powerful rival breaches the high ridgeline, instantly locking eyes with the Valley King. The sheer aggression of the impending clash forces all others to immediately vacate the area. Potent, musky scents are purposefully deployed to maximize an intimidating, terrifying presence. Seeking safety in dark waters, smaller residents slip silently away from the deafening chaos. The challenger descends with a stiff, swaying walk, designed specifically to display his maximum width. The harem watches in absolute silence. Their future bloodline depends entirely on this outcome. In a final display of raw power, massive clumps of tough heather are effortlessly uprooted. Completely unintimidated, the challenger responds with equal, earth-shattering violence. From a safe distance, the entire glen pauses to observe the standoff between highland giants. Pure adrenaline courses through heavily muscled chests as they hyperventilate for brutal combat. The parallel walk is a deadly dance, where one single false step could prove devastating. Even the absolute apex predators of the sky pause to witness this awe-inspiring clash. The dance concludes. They turn sharply, squaring their massive, heavily burdened shoulders. The surrounding herds back away nervously, giving the immense combatants the space they require. Lowering their heavy weapons, they lock their sights for the devastating, inevitable charge. The absolute silence of twilight is instantly shattered by the deafening crack of colliding bone. They crash together with immense concussive force in a brutal test of raw strength. Locked in a grueling shoving match, they twist incredibly thick necks to unbalance the other. Immense physical pressure creates a terrifying grinding sound that echoes across the dark moor. The sheer momentum of the battling giants crushes everything caught in their destructive path. Treacherous, saturated peat forces the massive beast to dig incredibly deep for any traction. The sheer scale and violence of the battle dwarfs absolutely everything else in the highlands. Exhaustion begins to show as rear hooves tragically lose their critical grip in slippery mud. Capitalizing instantly on the mistake, the dominant male relentlessly drives the rival back. Unable to match the sheer power, the challenger violently wrenches his head away, conceding defeat. His energy completely spent, the defeated rival flees desperately into the gathering mist. The undisputed king of the glen unleashes a massive, triumphant roar into the freezing night. With the battle concluded and protection secured, the harem immediately returns to peacefully grazing. As the deafening noise slowly subsides, the smaller hunters resume their relentless search for food. Standing victorious, the dominant red deer stag forms a perfect silhouette against the fading sky. As true night finally claims the glen, a heavy, peaceful mist rolls across dark lochs. With daytime completely gone, the nocturnal foragers take full control of the forest floor. High above the ground, agile shadows navigate the pitch-black canopy with perfect, silent precision. Harmony returns to the glens as both massive giants and delicate prey finally rest. His territory secured, the monarch sleeps, closing another spectacularly wild day in the Scottish Highlands. As night claims the highlands, the red deer rests. But under the cover of darkness, an entirely different, far more lethal predator awakens in the alpine snow. Discover the phantom of the taiga right here.